Are you tired of feeling overwhelmed by negativity from others? In today's video, we'll be exploring the topic of dealing with mean people the smart way, with a special focus on insights from Buddhism. Lesson 1. Take care of yourself. It can be extremely detrimental to our mental, emotional, and even physical health to deal with cruel people. The Buddhist way of living serves as a reminder that we must look after ourselves before we can properly assist others or even react to them in a wise manner. This is self-compassion, not selfishness. In order to stay grounded during trying times, the Buddha emphasized the value of taking care of and guarding our own thoughts and emotions. By taking care of ourselves, we give ourselves the resilience and self-awareness necessary to navigate difficult circumstances with poise. Self-care is fundamentally about having self-compassion. Buddhism teaches that we must be compassionate towards ourselves before we can be truly compassionate towards others. This entails recognizing and respecting your own emotions when someone treats you badly. When cruelty is present, it's simple to become overwhelmed with feelings of rage, grief, or frustration. Nevertheless, it's crucial to first give oneself permission to experience these feelings without passing judgment. The idea that all people suffer is one of Buddhism's central teachings. It is simpler to be understanding of others and ourselves when we acknowledge that everyone has been injured at some point in their lives, including ourselves. The first step towards recovering from the hurt caused by cruelty and meanness is to acknowledge your own suffering without passing judgment. Take a time to express your feelings when someone acts cruelly towards you. This little act of self-compassion can ease your emotional suffering and serve as a gentle reminder that your feelings are valid. Put your hand on your heart, take a few slow breaths, and tell yourself in silence, "It's okay to feel hurt right now. I am human, and I am doing the best I can." Safeguarding your mental well-being is another aspect of self-care. If you let someone's nasty energy into your life, it can quickly upset your inner equilibrium. It's important to understand that although you have no control over what other people do, you do have power over how you react. This is where the mindfulness taught by the Buddhists becomes extremely beneficial. Being completely present in the moment and monitoring your thoughts and sensations without bias or attachment is the practice of mindfulness. Mindfulness helps you notice meanness when it happens to you without allowing it to control you. You can choose how you want to respond by pausing, observing your feelings, and not reacting right away with hurt or anger. Strive to be mindful when interacting with challenging individuals. Pay attention to your breathing, your body's feelings, and any arising emotions. You can put some distance between the situation and your response by just noticing these emotions without passing judgment. This will enable you to react coolly rather than rashly. Buddhism places great emphasis on the practice of non-attachment as a means of self-care. Being non-attached isn't about giving up on life or suppressing your feelings. Rather, it's about not letting other people's deeds, words, or beliefs define who you are. It's simple to internalize cruel people's actions and think that it speaks poorly of you. But the Buddhist viewpoint reminds us that other people's deeds are not a reflection of who we are, but rather a reflection of their own inner problems. It's critical to understand that cruel people frequently behave out of personal pain. They might be coping with anxiety, insecurity, or hurt that shows itself as nasty behavior. This can assist you in realizing that their behaviors are not directed towards you, even while it does not justify their behavior. You might safeguard your inner calm and preserve a sense of self that is based on compassion rather than outside approval by refusing to equate your value with how other people treat you. To keep their negativity from becoming ingrained in your thoughts, tell yourself repeatedly when someone is being cruel to you, "This is their suffering, not mine." You can let go of their actions and concentrate on your own well-being by engaging in this non-attachment technique. Setting appropriate boundaries is another essential part of self-care. Buddhism teaches us to be kind and compassionate to others. But this does not imply that we should put up with abuse or let others take advantage of us. Establishing boundaries is a self-compassionate way to safeguard your mental and emotional well-being. It's critical to know when to put distance between you and someone who is constantly nasty or toxic. This is realizing that it is not in everyone's best interests to let them hurt you again and over again, not giving up on your sympathy for them. Buddhism teaches us to find the middle path, or to find harmony between opposites. This refers to striking a balance between your own compassion and that of others in the context of relationships. Limiting your interactions with them, being clear about your requirements, or, in severe situations, severing your connection with someone who is continuously destructive are some ways to set boundaries. Knowing when to say no and when to leave harmful relationships in order to preserve your peace of mind are essential components of self-care. Taking care of your body and mind is another aspect of self-care. The emotional toll of interacting with rude people can show up as physical stress, including headaches, tension, exhaustion, and more. It's critical to take good care of your physical health by engaging in regular exercise, meditation, and rest. The body and mind are closely related in Buddhism. A peaceful, healthy mind promotes a healthy body, and the opposite is also true. Frequent practice of yoga, meditation, or just being in nature might help you decompress from stressful situations. By allowing yourself to rest, you fortify your capacity to face difficulties with fortitude and discernment. Make self-care a regular part of your life. This may be as easy as doing some yoga to relieve tension, going for a stroll in the park, or spending a few minutes each morning in meditation. Taking care of your body and mind on a daily basis provides you with a solid foundation for managing the emotional difficulties that arise from interacting with cruel people. Maintaining your mental and spiritual well-being, in addition to safeguarding your physical health, is part of taking care of yourself. By practicing self-compassion, mindfulness, non-attachment, setting boundaries, and taking care of your body and mind, you can develop the inner fortitude required to handle rude individuals in a calm, sensible, and wise manner. You empower yourself to respond to others with grace and resilience, no matter how challenging they may be, when you put your own well-being first. Lesson 2. Unwind and maintain calm. It is typically our innate tendency to respond defensively, or even angrily, to cruel or aggressive behavior. However, Buddhism teaches that these responses not only make the problem worse, but also agitate our inner tranquility. Remaining composed and relaxed is one of the most effective ways to cope with rude people. This lecture, which is firmly based in Buddhist philosophy, provides spiritual as well as practical insights into the importance of maintaining composure, as well as practical tips for doing so. Equanimity, or having a peaceful and balanced mind, is something that the Buddha stressed is important in all facets of life. Being equanimous helps us deal with challenging circumstances without letting our feelings get in the way. Remaining composed allows you to respond to cruel or hurtful behavior with clarity as opposed to an instinctive reaction. Calmness is a mirror of inner serenity, which is attained by practicing mindfulness, a core Buddhist concept. Consider a situation where someone at work is continuously criticizing or undermining your efforts. Although you may feel frustrated or angry at first, mindfulness allows you to take a moment to relax. It enables you to acknowledge your angry sentiments without allowing them control how you react. You have the option to remain collected, evaluate the circumstances, and decide on a more deliberate and measured response in place of acting on an impulse. Taking a few deep breaths helps bring you back to the present moment and calms your nervous system when faced with unpleasant behavior. By doing this, you can stop your emotions from becoming out of control. Even a few periods of attentive breathing can be the difference between reacting angrily and wisely. Including meditation in your regular routine can also assist in establishing a foundation of serenity that extends to trying circumstances. The practice of meditation teaches the mind to remain calm even when provoked. You become less sensitive to outside circumstances with time, especially the deeds of cruel people. One of the biggest risks of dealing with cruel individuals is becoming enmeshed in reactive cycles. Reactive cycles happen when someone exhibits bad behavior and you respond negatively as well, which makes the other person respond even more negatively, and so on, leading to a vicious cycle of hostility. Remaining composed will help you diffuse the situation. When someone snaps, they usually expect a hostile response, so your composure disarms them. This may change the tone of the exchange and possibly pave the way for reconciliation or a more fruitful dialogue. For instance, if someone says something harmful to you, you have the opportunity to diffuse the situation by remaining composed instead of snapping back. You could decide to reply with a follow-up question, acknowledge their viewpoint without agreeing with it, or make no comment at all. This cool-headed strategy can frequently head off more confrontation and even get the opposing party to take a hard look at their actions. Being calm involves more than simply managing your own feelings. It also entails developing empathy for the one who is being cruel. Buddhism teaches that hurtful actions frequently result from the suffering of the other person. When someone exhibits violent or angry behavior, they typically transfer their inner anguish onto other people. Being aware of this can help you maintain your composure, since it changes your viewpoint from one of personal injury to one of empathy. You can start to perceive the other person as someone who is dealing with their own suffering rather than as an enemy. The Buddhist concept of compassion invites us to react to the suffering of others, not with judgment or hatred, but with kindness and understanding. This is acknowledging that the person's behaviors are frequently motivated by their own unhappiness, but it does not excuse bad behavior. For instance, rather than taking it personally if a coworker is constantly impolite or critical, you may think about the stresses or difficulties they may be dealing with. It's simpler to maintain composure and avoid getting sucked into the negativity if you approach them with compassion. Non-attachment is another important Buddhist precept that promotes serenity. Let go of the desire to influence other people's actions or the course of events in order to become non-attached. It's an acknowledgement that while we have no influence over other people's behavior, we do have power over our own responses. By letting go of the impulse to fix the other person or the circumstance, non-attachment enables you to remain composed when interacting with rude people. You understand that you have no influence over their behavior, and instead of getting upset with them, you concentrate on keeping your own inner calm. This change in perspective can be immensely freeing. You release yourself from the emotional weight of other people's actions when you give up trying to influence or change them. You realize that their meanness is a reflection of their own problems rather than something personal against you, so you stop feeling the need to respond or protect yourself. Being non-attached does not imply passivity or apathy. It entails handling challenging circumstances with discernment and wisdom, while being detached from the result on an emotional level. It is possible to develop the ability to remain composed in the face of cruelty over time. Patience and practice are needed. You can improve your capacity for composure on a daily basis by implementing mindfulness exercises, meditation, and introspection. Although it's difficult, maintaining your composure in the face of hurtful people is one of the best strategies to preserve your mental health and stop the problem from getting worse. You can respond to meanness with grace and wisdom, bringing more harmony into your life and relationships with others by engaging in mindfulness, breathing exercises, compassion, and non-attachment practices. Lesson 3. Show others kindness. Buddhism tells us that everyone wants to be happy and free from suffering. Those who act cruelly or mean-spiritedly frequently do so because they are suffering themselves. Despite their seeming lack of merit, showing sympathy towards rude individuals is one of the most effective strategies to cope with them. Imagine the possibility of encountering kindness and understanding out of the blue for someone who is typically confronted with wrath or fury. This change may have a significant effect on them, which may alter the nature of your relationship with them. The right speech doctrine of the Buddha is equally relevant in this situation. Right speech calls on us to communicate in a sincere, peaceful, and compassionate manner. Speaking nicely, especially to people who are unkind, helps to create a more calm atmosphere in addition to safeguarding your own integrity. Kindness has the ability to diffuse nasty behavior and change challenging circumstances. Being kind in response to someone who treats you badly can have a positive knock-on effect. By silently sending nice thoughts to everyone, including those who are tough in your life, you can engage in loving-kindness meditation. Begin by wishing happiness and serenity to yourself, and then send those same desires to the individual who has wronged you. By doing this, you can lessen the emotional impact of their actions and soften your heart. Lesson 4. Engage, don't disregard. Although it can be easy to just stay away from nasty individuals or disregard their actions, this isn't always the best course of action. Buddhism's idea of engaged Buddhism tells us that rather than just watching or avoiding conflict, we should actively participate in fostering understanding and peace. Instead of running away from a situation when someone is mean, you can deal with it thoughtfully and responsibly. This is not the same as forcefully confronting the person. Rather, it is engaging the problem with the goal of comprehending and changing it. One method to participate is to apply right effort, which is a noble eightfold path component. Cultivating positive mental states and letting rid of negative ones is the essence of right effort. Right effort advises you to actively seek to bring about harmony rather than merely putting up with insults from rude people. This could entail discussing how their actions are affecting you with them in a cool, collected manner. Individuals occasionally don't realize how their activities affect other individuals. You can start the process of finding a solution by politely bringing it up to them. Avoiding unpleasant people or challenging circumstances doesn't make the issue go away. Rather, approach the matter with awareness and the goal of bringing about harmony. If someone's actions are hurtful on a regular basis, think about talking to them. Instead of placing blame or making accusations, go into the discussion with an open mind and a calm demeanor, concentrating on how the behavior impacts you. This may contribute to mutual understanding and even conflict resolution. Lesson 5. Take stock of yourself. Handling ill-intentioned individuals can be emotionally taxing. It's critical to keep in mind that self-care is just as important as having compassion for others. We return to the Buddhist concept of self-compassion with this lecture. The Buddha advocated for treating oneself with the same importance as treating others. We are not being compassionate towards ourselves if we are continuously prioritizing the needs of others over our own, or if we let their negativity negatively impact our mental and emotional well-being. Setting limits is one method to keep self-compassion intact. Setting limits is crucial for safeguarding your emotional and mental health, particularly when interacting with rude people. It's crucial to treat people with compassion, but it's just as crucial to keep your peace by preventing poisonous behavior from entering your life. Buddhism emphasizes the value of equilibrium, or striking a neutral ground between opposing extremes. This refers to striking a balance between your own compassion and that of others when interacting with rude people. It is not necessary to put up with rudeness or negativity in the name of kindness. Remaining apart from individuals that constantly bring negativity into your life is acceptable. Establishing appropriate boundaries and guarding your emotional well-being are two ways to practice self-compassion. Strike a balance between taking care of yourself and being kind to others. Think back on your relationships and pinpoint any situations where you might need to establish limits. This could be setting clear boundaries for what behavior you find unacceptable or minimizing your interactions with someone who acts cruelly all the time. Lesson 6. Look for answers. A final piece of advice for handling nasty people well is to concentrate on finding answers. Buddhism places a strong focus on using knowledge and mindfulness to solve problems. When faced with disagreement, the Buddhist attitude is to look for reasonable and kind answers, rather than becoming enmeshed in the emotional turbulence. The teachings of the Buddha exhort us to investigate the underlying causes of suffering. It's likely that the root of someone's harsh behavior is their personal suffering or struggles. After gaining a deeper comprehension of the circumstances, you might endeavor to identify a remedy that is advantageous to both sides. This can entail resolving the fundamental problems or just figuring out how to live in harmony with one another. To understand the underlying causes of cruel behavior, apply right understanding, and make wise decisions in response. It's never easy to deal with cruel individuals, but you can overcome these difficulties with more insight, compassion, and inner peace if you follow the teachings of Buddhism. These 6 courses each provide a unique viewpoint on how to deal with animosity and cruelty in a way that safeguards your personal well-being, while also fostering a more compassionate and peaceful world. You can turn trying situations into chances for spiritual development by taking care of oneself, maintaining composure, being nice, paying attention, and coming up with answers. Never forget that every obstacle you encounter is a chance to hone your intelligence, compassion, and mindfulness. As you move through the difficulties of dealing with unpleasant people, may this knowledge provide you with strength and serenity, and encourage others to follow in your path.